Right. Hello and welcome to the Friday night stream of the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. And I think we will get started with a little bit of rapid. It would help to actually click in the chess window and not the OBS window. Okay. Playing white. Can get that English going. Okay, and we've got a fairly standard setup coming here. Get that get castled, and we can move into just a proper Botvinnik with e4 and d3. I had a problem with Twitch chat interfacing with Restream a couple of minutes ago, so hopefully that's not going to be an issue again. Just keep the Twitch window open just in case. Okay. Okay, and okay. Take back. I've ended up with this pawn structure like this, which is very nice. Looks awkward, but it has some serious staying power because there's basically no way to attack it except from below. So if you can just manage to avoid allowing anyone to get underneath it on these first two ranks here, you can do fairly well. Okay, he's gonna look to break You're gonna look to break on probably b4, b5, something like that. Okay. Don't actually entirely mind that. Although it does badify my bishop a bit. We can work on that. There are other places for that bishop. Ah, I got pinned. That wasn't exactly what I was going for. Break the pin, and okay, that does suck a little. Let's see if we can find a way to limit the mobility of the queen, though. Okay. Not terribly concerned about that. But, let's see. Okay. Down 8 points of material, but at the same time, I still have enough to mate if I can just find a good place to do it from. I love this whole new idea that we have. I mean, at the same time as, like, the likes of Xander Hall are trying to make leftists feel guilty for having standards of when they will actually trust somebody who claims to be an ex-Nazi. Yeah, at the same time as that, we have this wonderful idea where, we have these universal healthcare marches where they explicitly are okay with having fash there. And I think that's just wonderful. That, just a wonderful way of just shitting on all the work that has been done to marginalize the fash. Oh, caffeine headache. I'm sorry to hear that. Main headaches I get are the kind that caffeine helps with. I was having a little problem with the chat being relayed from between Restream and caffeine withdrawal headache. Oh, that's a real pity. Just so you know, I've been having this problem with the chat being relayed between Twitch and Restream. So, if for some reason I don't seem to be seeing chat, that would be why. It seems to be working now. Are you giving up caffeine, or do you just not have any tea on hand? Right. Okay. Nun sports? What is nun sport? Interesting. Like caffeine tablets? Ah, okay. And what are the other varieties? Is it like flavor tablets, or how's it work? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That's not good. Okay. Don't know if this is actually going to be anything, but we'll see, I suppose. Ah, okay. Interesting. Oh, well, hell. Yeah. Right. Yes, I have played better games of chess in the recent past. Yeah, that was coming. So that Sanderhall video that I've been doing bits of about trusting ex-Nazis and all that, it turns out the guy who he is debating that with is apparently occasionally watching this and was in my comment thread. Okay, is there any way to do this that it isn't made in one? I'm not seeing. Ah, fuck it. GG. And I think we are going to go back to that series again right now for a little while. It's so long, I'm just doing one little chunk at a time. How's your week been other than that? Okay, get my background noise up so that I don't have to spend too much time audio normalizing Xanderhall. It's annoying enough to... let's see. There we go.
And you don't even know how I got brought up. There was...
Oh, well, that's great.
Just have to say, wait, do you think if they just said I'm not a Nazi anymore and then started doing Nazi shit, that it would be like, well, they said they weren't a Nazi anymore?
Well, it's kind of Xanderhall's whole thing. He says he's not a Nazi anymore, and then he uses white nationalist talking points again to oppose decolonization. So
no, it's about what they do.
Okay, but they have done something that's really, really messed up. Never had to pay any type of price for it.
I don't believe in having to pay a price for something. I don't believe in order for someone to be a good person, they have to pay the price for
or to have an arc or whatever.
That's really convenient. Okay. And the way he hand waves this whole idea is he just sort of throws the word restorative justice out there. Who knows if he even knows what it is. But the idea that trust has to be earned... whose stream is it, by the way? But the idea that trust has to be earned seems to be very much anathema to him, and I can totally understand that, because he hasn't really done much to earn anyone's trust. I mean, it just is not heard of them. Is that that's on Twitch?
Wait, have you ever done it? Have you ever done like a bad thing in your life that you regret?
Much, but
like, there's nothing you can think of. Okay, man, you must be like a fucking flawless human being then. Damn. Okay.
I'm definitely not flawless, but everything I've done is to myself and not to other people.
You've never like been like you've never hurt somebody emotionally or anything like that. You've never.
Nope.
Never really. Never like been mean to somebody at school when you were younger. Never.
Nope.
Wow.
No, actually.
Yeah, and notice here what he's doing here with this false equivalency shit, because there's fucking up. There's, unintentionally hurting somebody emotionally, or just, screwing up, letting somebody down, or doing just some kind of asshole thing out of thoughtlessness, or because you were just a bit of an asshole at the time, or whatever. And then there's actually deciding to join up with a bunch of people whose whole thing is that they want to exterminate marginalized people and celebrate that idea. There is. They're both a form of fucking up. Okay, I'll give you that. But there is a big fucking difference between the one and the other.
Yeah, I was actually your stereotypical SJW, and this person you think is just like a natural leftist and blah blah blah. You know,
You were
like
morally lucky. You were
Oh, that's right. And it turned. This is what. Okay, I actually went back further than I was expecting. Yes, this is where he misuses. As it turns out, he misuses the term morally lucky, which Erica told us last time about how what morally lucky actually means is you did something fairly awful, but every bad thing that you did, was forced upon you by external circumstances, so it can't actually be strictly blamed on you. Worse than ex-TERFs how? Ex-TERFs tend to drop out of fighting or they switch sides unequivocally. Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that you don't really, like, you don't, there, I can't think of a single, like, ex-TERF YouTuber. And the thing is, on a certain level, if they were coming from the right place, I would find it useful. If they were, like, using it to air all the internal, like, dirty laundry of TERFs and all the shit, all the internal conflicts and all the fucked up shit that they said that people didn't necessarily hear, and trying to wreak havoc with their organizations and their relationships and just generally exposing how fucked up they are. I actually think that would be kind of good. I mean, I would love to see that kind of whistleblowing, for example, in Britain. Although it seems like maybe we're going to start actually having some, but without anyone having to have been an ex-TERF, because trans people at the BBC are starting to come and yeah, and some have sort of like there've also been some who have gotten really pissed off with other TERFs without actually ex-TERFing, like Jean Hatchett, when it turned out that the other British TERFs were sort of cool with the far right, and she was like, well, we shouldn't, that's kind of fucked up, which is really, to my mind, just morally inconsistent, because it makes perfect sense that TERFs would be cool with the far right. Yeah, some, like, trans employees at the BBC are starting to open up about what a fucked up workplace that is and where the transphobia there is coming from, and I'm totally there for it. It's about time that we actually really got some kind of sense. Yeah, I mean, even fake goth, who, pioneered the idea of trying to work with MRAs and the Christian right, started to freak out when these British TERFs started working with the, openly with the Heritage Foundation, which I thought was cute. I mean, she was working with the fucking Pacific Justice Institute to hound a trans teenager to the point where she had to be admitted to a psych ward in order to deal with the shit that she was put through. But working with the Heritage Foundation is somehow like taboo. I don't completely get what line she's drawing, but I mean, I don't get the morality of these fucking people anyway.
I am that person that you are saying. You don't want to believe it.
It sounds like, at least from what you're telling me, you're morally lucky. You were essentially born into your beliefs.
Oh, I'm out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's not what morally lucky means. I mean, and it's just such a fucked up way of trying to. I mean, we went over this last time, but the idea that being born into, like, anti-oppression, leftist, anti-capitalist beliefs does not really make you lucky. Usually it means that you are experiencing the uncomfortable end of all those systems. Which, yeah, not really. I mean, that's sort of the anti-privilege, really. But this is sort of weird like, just sort of flip the polarity on privilege discourse here.
We're surrounded by all. Dude, you don't even know where I live, man. You don't even know how I got brought up. There was nobody left. I had to do it all by myself.
Dude, do you
Oh,
want to
man.
do you
You
want to
have no
compare
idea.
upbringings? I grew up in fucking
Especially with
Florida, okay?
and you had like
Oh, well, he grew up in fucking Florida. Okay, what... that's supposed to mean something, is it? Like, I once had to spend an entire day at Sanford Airport outside fucking Orlando because I made the mistake of flying with Allegiant. And don't see me trying to justify horrible political positions based on it.
no smartphones, no
Where'd
nothing,
you grow
bro.
up?
And
Where'd you grow up?
In boring Oregon.
Oregon, dude. I grew up in Florida,
Boring.
okay? Dude, I
Oh, well, congratulations.
grew up
Boring,
in
yeah.
Florida. I don't care about it being boring, okay? Just because where you grew up was boring doesn't mean it's going to make you into Nazi.
Except Oregon is actually full of far-right shit. Everybody thinks Portland is Oregon. You're from the Pacific Northwest. I mean, I imagine you're familiar with this misconception, too. This idea that all of Oregon is just Portland, as if when, in fact, I mean, you get out of Portland and it's all dodgy shit. That doesn't surprise me, honestly.
I grew up in Florida, okay? I've never
So?
seen... I don't think I've lived... Up until I moved to California, I don't think I've lived in a place that didn't have all red across the whole state. Mayors and governor. I didn't even live to see a blue governor in Florida, okay? That's where I grew up,
The only
okay?
red.
Oh, God, okay, so, yeah, so if you have a Republican governor, that means obviously you're gonna become a Nazi. I grew up in fucking Ohio. It's, like, sort of Republicans all the way down. Never became fash.
All red. A red across the
only red.
fucking
the
board.
rest of Oregon is red besides Portland. So, and I grew up in the red.
Thank you.
So,
Oregon's
look,
still
and I
like...
grew up without smartphones and computers and all that shit, and I was way
Hell,
less and knew more.
the smartphones and the computers probably kept you from going to the right. Hey, listen,
No,
trust me,
no,
trust me,
the fact that I wasn't gullible. I mean, kids like you are just gullible as shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, as people talk about becoming... Yeah, I mean, Eugene is, like, just sort of Portland's goiter, really, as far as I can tell. Yeah, I mean, wasn't Oregon explicitly founded as an Aryan-only state or something like that? I mean, this idea that you could just... It's just sort of... understandably that you just kind of become a Nazi because you grow up in Florida and you have a smartphone. I mean, not that many people actually become Nazis. Even like the regular ass right wingers mostly don't actually take that step, as bad as they are. I mean, this is an extremely rare poor exercise of political judgment, except on the part of the people who are just born into that bullshit, which is a completely different thing. And some of you don't see those people becoming, like, special, YouTube ex-Nazi celebrities. It is, it's ridiculous. Like, I mean... And I'm guessing when he says we didn't have smartphones and shit, I mean, I think that Xander Hall doesn't actually know what the birth years of boomers are. Because I have a feeling it's going to turn out if we hear about... I mean, he's watching this stuff. He will probably be in the comment thread and point this out, but... Well, I mean, Florida went to Gore in 2000. And it's going to turn out that actually he's Gen X, but to Xander Hall, anyone who, like, fucking remembers Iran-Contra, it must be a boomer.
Shit, you know?
Wait,
Yeah.
you think that you were, like, this impenetrable, like, not gullible kid? Like, you weren't, capable of being, like, moved on any issues when you were
Mistakes?
younger?
No, I really am very over analytical on things, and I really think shit through
Damn.
hard.
Yeah, see, and here's the thing. This is what's so fucked up, and this is another indication that this guy's never really had any serious introspection. He's made it very easy for himself. Xanderhall has, I mean, the idea. Oh well, you must have like been swayable to being an Nazi. It's like this is not something that is in most people's biography. This is an unusual thing. It is extraordinarily bad political and moral judgment. You fucked up in a way most people don't, even fairly fucked up people.
So maybe that's just
Shit.
my thing, is I really think about shit.
Damn, if only
I don't have a
if
lot of trust.
only
I don't have a lot of
everybody-
trust. Maybe
if
that's what
only
we're talking
everybody
about.
was
but I don't.
like you, dude. If only every
In terms of not being a Nazi, the overwhelming majority of humanity is like him. The overwhelming majority. You have 9% of the population, according to polls, more express sympathies with neo-Nazis. Okay? About 9%. That is a minority even within the right-wing minority in the country. That is, and most of them, and the thing is that in terms of, you look at these like fash rallies, and it's, I mean, they're doing well to manage three figures, and they don't manage that very often, and when they do, it's because they've flown fucking people in order to make up the numbers. This guy's acting like, oh well, everybody was a Nazi growing up. I mean, what else? What else are you gonna do? Some people had a mullet. Some people did a Flock of Seagulls haircut. Some people had liked Radiohead post Kid A. And some people were fucking Nazis. It's just a thing you do. I mean, it's just fuck off, Xanderhall.
I'm not saying. Am I saying that? Am I doing that? Like, don't even. When you attack leftists that have been leftists for their whole life and stuff, you look so dumb, man.
No, I
Like,
attack
a lot of
leftists
those
who've been
leftists that
leftists
do
in
that,
their
they
whole
don't
lives that
sit there
judge
and, like-
people for having had bad opinions, then realized it was wrong and changed their minds because
Yeah.
they heard the best of right-wing arguments and still figured out it was wrong and changed.
Yeah. See, the thing is, you assume that the rest of us haven't heard the best of right-wing arguments. I mean, he thinks that this is like so. He heard. I mean, it's like he heard the best of right-wing arguments and still figured out it was wrong, except for the part where you figured you came up with the idea that it was right for a while, and most likely, just looking at you, the reason you thought it was right for a while is because everybody who is harmed by that far right bullshit is not like you, Xanderhall. I mean, you don't get credit for the fact that you eventually worked out that it was fucked up. That doesn't actually. God, these fucking unimpressive.
They weren't fucking morally lucky, and
People,
and
yeah, they might be better to talk to other right wingers, but I mean, come on, man. Like, you still have like reactionary tendencies and stuff like that.
What
so it's
reactionary tendencies do I have?
Oh, this should be good. I mean, I could start this one out because the whole thing where he likens, he joins Vosh, I should note, in likening decolonization and self-determination for colonized peoples to the fucking Holocaust. That's kind of reactionary.
Gosh, I can't really remember as much off the top
There's
of my
not
head.
an
but
example
sometimes
you
I'm
can
like, damn,
think
you
of.
could tell.
There's
I just gave one, but I mean, it's
You know, I right now I can't. I'm sorry, but I did say it a couple times in my head while watching the things. I'm like, damn, he's kind of, he's shaking a little bit.
oh yeah. I mean, and I can believe it because I mean, every time I watch him, it's like, yeah. I mean, I'm not really getting this X part. In fact, this whole idea that, oh, it's understandable and actually somehow it makes him a better leftist that he was a Nazi, that whole thing, that already is some reactionary shit. He's like somehow trying to turn that into a badge of honor. It's a fucking badge of shame. And he's absolutely not ashamed of it in any visible way. Apparently you were, according to this weird-ass definition. Like, apparently I was like morally lucky on the whole not becoming a Nazi thing because being born into an ethnic group that Nazis have kind of a problem with meant that it really just didn't seem like a very likely career path for me. I guess that makes me morally lucky too. I mean, God, it is such a bullshit argument.
Wait,
know
do
what I
you
mean?
think that
So
like do you think that me being like boisterous on stream is a reactionary tendency?
Yes, actually, you show absolutely the whole fact that having admitted to a colossal failure of moral and political judgment, you feel competent to be lecturing others is proof that you have not actually realized how badly you fucked up and how badly you need to make amends for it.
I see some shit you said before, man. I can't even exactly remember, so I'm sorry.
It's hard to remember all of it because it keeps on adding up. It's just constantly accumulating with
I guess
Sandoval.
that was just. I guess I didn't have the example on hand, so.
Okay. Yeah, trust me, you won't find any reactionary tendencies that I have. It's possible.
I don't trust him. Don't trust him. It's not hard to find them. In fact, I mean, you watch the stream. I'm cataloging them for you. Yeah, because it is. Oh God, let's see what we got in this. Aggressive equals reactionary. Well, the
but,
chat
like,
continues to suck.
Maybe
don't
like
think you
if you consider reactionary to be like insulting
Well,
people.
things you say too.
Do you
Like,
think like
saying woke.
Well, like insulting leftists and calling them morally lucky for being part of the overwhelming majority of humanity who looked at the best arguments fucking Nazis had to offer and said, "Wow, that's fucking bullshit. Those people suck." Yeah, I mean, yeah, you probably shouldn't be insulting people like that.
Scold, like calling me a woke scold. Like
What do
saying
you-
woke and doing the woke and all that. That's. I know you're not trying to be racist, and it's not like a thing, but
Okay, yeah, I'm not. Yeah. Look at him. He's like, oh, how could appropriating a term from Black English that was a positive thing that meant people who understand how society works and why that needs to change, and turning it into a pejorative, how could that possibly be racist? Look at him, he's just melting. I mean, that's the most fucked up thing, what was done to the word woke, and how quickly it was done. And that shit seriously was racist, and the people who have, who have promoted that development, turning a term that was a very good thing, and appropriating it and turning it into an insult, really just ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they won't because they're fucking assholes. Porcine pugilist.
to make fun of woke and to use it as a joke, because woke is associated with, I mean, at least back in the day.
Not even back in the day. I mean, very recently, like, as in, there are memes using the term woke in the way that I just described it. And it was like just 2 or 3 years ago. This whole thing of turning woke into a pejorative is extremely recent. Started out on the far right. And people like this who try to import it into the left need to be looked at with deep suspicion.
You know, the Black community, you know, like they were the only ones saying it back in the day and acting and doing like that.
Well, I mean, in its original usage, it certainly was. But then, I mean, fucking Ben Shapiro got his hands on it. Yeah, I mean, I would say, despite actually being fairly surrounded by AAVE during my high school years, I never actually heard the term then. The first time I heard it probably would have also been around 2014, and at the time it was always a positive term, meaning, you know, basically understanding why society was fucked up.
That type of stuff. So the right wing grabbed it, made it a bad thing, and have just tortured it up. And you were using it like, oh, woke scold, and it's like
Do you know how?
Yeah, which is a term, as far as I can tell, that Ben Shapiro invented. Like, okay, yeah, don't do that.
Language
like,
works.
well, I get it, but to other people that don't know what the new version of woke scold is, they're like, dude, that guy is a fucking jackass. You know, like, so
Yeah, most of the people that I've found that think when I say woke scold, I'm referring to like people of color or marginalized people or whatever are typically extremely dishonest pieces of shit on Twitter.
Which is funny because, yeah, I mean, how could you possibly be referring to marginalized people or people of color using an AAVE term that is now used as an insulting way of saying opposed to racism and homophobia and transphobia and shit? Yeah, how could that possibly be in any way referring to marginalized people? Seriously, shut the fuck up.
That like haven't liked me ever, and they.
no,
they're
but
just
that's the
looking for any
problem.
excuse to
Back in the
dislike
day,
What? Okay, so they're okay because they never liked you, Zenderhole. That means that they're dishonest pieces of shit. I mean, I just think it means they have taste. I mean, I guess in Zenderhole's usage, they're morally lucky. They came to the correct conclusion the first time.
hey, back in the day, I mean, like, it's just people that don't understand what you're trying to say, so it looks bad. And the fact that the right took woke and made it a bad thing, and you're now using it as a bad thing, it's just, it kind of seems like, I mean, I'm not saying it's like the worst thing or whatever. I'm just saying, like,
How do you
know,
feel about the people
I
that
still
were
don't think you
harassing
understand.
ContraPoints when the Buck Angel thing happened?
Okay, there's another example of the Buck Angel thing was fucked up. She shouldn't have done that. She shouldn't have platformed that asshole. I mean, anyone who was in any way familiar with that guy knew that why he should not have been given a platform. And he actually came off of that platform to say all sorts of fucked up transphobic pro-turf bullshit. So yeah, that's not a thing that ContraPoints did that a non-reactionary person should be defending.
The people that were taking joy in ContraPoints
okay.
being so depressed from the harassment she was facing that she fell
Those are
back into
just pieces
alcoholism.
of shit. Those are just pieces of shit. They're not a woke
Wait,
scold.
do
Like,
you
I mean,
think-
or maybe they're
do you
scold.
Think perhaps there may do you wait hold on, I'm really curious. Do you think perhaps there is utility in having a word that is a little less broad than just pieces of shit to refer to people who engage in abusive tendencies towards others but utilize woke language in order to engage in that abusive behavior?
Yeah, that's not what the term means, and I mean, then what the hell does that make Xanderhall, who avoids actually using, really, for the most part, even the language of opposing reactionary bullshit, and abuses people with that. What does that make him? Is that like a sleep scold then? I mean, what the fuck?
Behavior? And
Not
mask
one
it in
that
woke
black
language?
people coveted. Not one that black people coveted at one point.
I'm sorry.
Black people
Words
coveted
aren't
woke at one
the
point.
definition of words and their etymology is not static. The definition
Oh yeah, that's such a bullshit argument. That is such a fucking bullshit argument. Because yes, it's true, it isn't static, but that doesn't mean that every single change in the usage of a word is morally neutral. And when a term becomes a God, German has so much of a better word for this. They say Kampfbegriff, which like a fight term, but like a weaponized propaganda term of white supremacists. That's not a good thing. That's not something you should encourage. I mean, this idea, oh, well, words change their meanings. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that doesn't actually mean that you should just equally encourage every single change in meaning. Sometimes it's bullshit. Like, the way, I mean, yeah, you could say that the meaning of critical race theory has changed because etymology isn't static, but the reason the meaning the reason the understanding of the term has changed to the extent that it has is that white supremacists are using it as a propaganda term that means something completely different from what it has historically and properly meant. I mean, this idea, that's such bullshit.
Of words
Well, I
change. Their
understand,
usage
but-
changes. Do you know the word simp? The word simp used to stand for sucker idolizing mediocre pussy. It came from the LGBT community, people of color, back in the day in like the club scene. I'm pretty sure that's where
Right,
the word
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
simp came from.
Funny, that's... Okay, anyone... Does that... Is that where it came from? Because that's certainly not where I remember first hearing it. I mean, I could have missed something, but I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was... That seemed like bullshit, because if those were the circles that it was being used first, I'm pretty sure that's where I would have heard it first. Okay, so because my sense was it was a term the far right started using and like fucking 4chan assholes, and that sort of got reappropriated. Is that your sense of it? Oh, is it?
Simp has
Sir
changed
Mix-a-Lot.
a lot.
I knew what a simp was way before you did. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably did, okay? And that's fine.
See, and the other thing about this whole, like, trying to discount, I mean, this is really a form of gaslighting, discounting people's observations about somebody's use of a specific political vocabulary, is that it actually makes people, if people listen to this, if they take it seriously, they will be less able to detect the fascists in their midst. Because one of the most reliable indicators of what kind of circles somebody runs in is the kind of what their slang is, what their shorthand is, their terminology. It's not a matter of language policing or anything like that. It's observing that if somebody keeps on saying woke as a pejorative, well, that says something about where the usage in the circles that they rate politically. You know, if they keep saying, say, Rothschild central banks, yeah, you can tell a lot about where they hang out. I mean, same thing with, like, if somebody keeps on talking about biological sex or adult human female or something like that, you can tell where they're hanging out the rest of the time, and that is useful information. And when somebody like this, whose only useful function that he could be using this platform for is helping people to identify, fast shit, instead is actually scolding people for noticing it, that is fucked up.
Okay.
The word simp has changed a lot nowadays. Simp means any dude who's nice to a... Simp means anything now, honestly.
Same thing.
Being
it meant
nice
the same
to...
thing back then. That meant the same thing back then.
No,
We
it
just did
didn't.
The little,
No, it didn't. Simp was
sucker-
not used the same way from its origin as it is now.
Oh.
A dude who comments like a nice thing below a woman's post will be called a simp. That was not how simp was used
It's
in the
gone way
LGBT
out- it's
community
way out
when
of
it was
bounds
when it
now.
originated.
It's gone way out of bounds.
Yeah, because that's
It's
what
simp
happens
even a
with
couple
words.
years back. Simp even a couple years back was somebody who was just kissing a girl's ass, and that's
Yeah,
what it's always.
like a white knight. Yeah, I know. But
Right.
definitions of words change. Their etymology
But now it's
changes.
changed.
God, okay, that's not what etymology means. You're gonna make a point about linguistics. Yeah, you're gonna make a point about fucking semantics. Get the fucking term right. Etymology. I mean, the only way in which something's etymology changes is that it gets more etymology. The etymology is the past of the word. It's where it came from. It's where it is the roots of the word and how far it goes back and what language it comes from and all that sort of shit. That's not what... I mean, what he's talking about is the lexicosemantics of the word. That's not the fucking etymology.
Okay, but to most of the population, it kind of still means the same. Sorry, they don't know. So you
No,
look like
most people were not the word simp for the most part.
Yeah,
did
etymology
not become
doesn't
mainstream
change.
until it got. It honestly got mainstream around the time its definition had changed to what it's used as now.
Yes,
The
yes.
old
Well, it was
definition
just in the
and
hip hop
etymology of
community.
it.
It was just Yeah.
Yeah,
Simply
my
heavy
argument is
hip-hop.
the argument that I'm making right now is I don't care what the origin of the term.
Oh,
woke
I mean,
skull
he
is,
just got it.
it is
The guy on the phone just got it right. He said his understanding was he'd heard it first in the hip hop community, which is closer to what we've settled on as the origin story. Yeah, there's so many German words for Zanderhal. Arschgesichtigkeitsmusterpatient.
is a word
Woke,
that's
woke,
definition.
not scolds. You can call them scolds. I don't care. I don't care if you call them even
What?
pieces of dog shit. Okay.
I don't.
It's just a problem with
I
woke.
Don't care.
Well, actually, I mean, see, I do care because the thing is, the people he's using that to describe are not people that actually are deserving of pejoratives. They're just people who are further to the left than this asshole, the fucking Zanderhal.
Okay, so it meant something to black people. Now you're saying you don't care. I don't give a shit.
The
It's
word
like this,
woke isn't a problem. Woke scold.
The using woke as a pejorative certainly is a fucking problem, and it is a very clear way of telling what kind of political waters you're walking around in, or wading in, I suppose. That is woke as a pejorative is a fucking white supremacist
the
thing.
scold
yeah,
is
but
a.
you're associating with it, and sometimes you're like, oh, they're so woke.
Do you know what
it's
a
like,
Do you know what a prefix is?
I'm guessing we're about to find out Zanderhal doesn't, because scold is a suffix.
What?
A prefix is when you have a word, and the beginning of that word adds on to the second half. I believe it's called an affix, if I'm correct. I haven't taken an English class in a long time. And when you combine these two words, the definition changes. It's a different word now.
Yeah, no. Jesus Christ. Okay, no, an affix is a general term. See, he may not have taken a language class in a while, but languages are kind of my thing. An affix is a general term that refers to any little accessory you stick onto a word, whether it's on the back end, the front end, or right in the middle of it. That's all an affix, because you are affixing something to it. You are attaching a thing to it. When you put something on the front end, it's a prefix. When you put something on the back end, it's a suffix. Woke scold is adding the suffix scold to woke. And it is, as far as I can tell, a Ben Shapiro innovation, and that is enough reason never to use it.
Woke scold is all one word. Woke is different from
you're
woke
saying
scold.
woke. You're saying woke like they know so much. You're saying, dude, don't even pull that crap.
Wait, what? Wait, what do you mean by know so much?
The woke is still being used as the same word. It's
No,
you're just a
the woke
scold.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the whole point of adding woke to scold, although it's really adding scold to woke, well, you can't even get that bit right. I mean, scold is, as a noun, is actually fairly archaic. I mean, it was an offense in colonial times, being a common scold, which was an offense that women were mostly charged with, specifically women who objected to shit men did. That was as far as I can tell, the main thing that a scold was, and there was the offense of being a common scold. So what Ben Shapiro did is he took that old-ass fucking fucked up term that already had a pretty fucked up meaning to begin with, and he found a way to make it racist.
You're not just
woke
woke, you're a
scolds
woke
are
scold.
abusive people who utilize progressive or woke language.
Scolding people.
No.
People who scold other people
No.
heavy and they're assholes.
No. That is not how I use the term woke scold. The vast
Oh, okay.
majority
Okay,
of the
but
time.
how other people see it doesn't matter how Zanderhal uses
I've
it.
explained my definition of woke scold plenty. You can go back to.
God, I mean, I actually have to say this caller has really done a public service, because by pointing out that Zanderhal has reactionary tendencies, he's caused Zanderhal to just come out and show examples of that. Yeah, in the middle it's an infix.
To 2019, and I've used this definition.
Nobody
of
has seen your videos that just pop in today, and you're using it. Nobody has seen those videos. They're just being like, "Dude, this guy's an ass," you know.
Holy
So,
shit!
Well, yeah, I mean, he is an ass. Yeah.
My
yeah.
chat's right. My patience is astounding. God damn, I have the patience of a saint.
What?
Hold on. What do you think?
Well, considering that the Saints were overwhelmingly, it turns out, rich people, and that often it turns out when you actually look at the lives of the Saints that they were fucked up assholes and a number of them were actual fascists. Okay, yeah. Sainthood fits.
What do you think the definition of woke scold is?
You're just not seeing what?
What do you think the definition of woke scold is?
I like how he's talking about this like it's some sort of established historical term with a, a dictionary definition. Like it's a term we've all been using all our lives, as opposed to some bullshit Ben Shapiro made up a few years ago in order to be racist while sounding like he takes helium.
Somebody who thinks they know everything that are scolding people online. That's what a woke scold is.
That could be an
okay. No, see, no, we're not trying to fucking salvage this term. It had a meaning. It had a very clear meaning. It's also the meaning that Xanderhall's using it, and it simply meant people who oppose fucking bigotry, racism, etc. That's how the term was originated, and that's, I mean, no matter how much he pretends otherwise, that's exactly how Xanderhall uses it. We don't need to try to find a rehabilitating definition for a shit show of a term.
Attribute of a woke scold. When I call someone a woke scold...
Well, that's what mainly it is. Whatever you want to think it is, yeah, it's anything. It's whatever. But what it really means is that, okay? What it means to a lot of people is that, okay? What it means to Xanderhall and his community might be way something different that nobody else knows. But when you say it, they think you mean the main one. So...
yeah, maybe they should stop. Man. Maybe they should stop trying to misrepresent what I believe. And
well, yeah, I mean, you're doing a good enough job of pointing out how much what you believe sucks without our help.
Listen to what I actually believe.
It's just what you're saying, man. It doesn't.
When I say listen to what I believe, that means listen to what I'm saying, because I talk about what I believe. That's kind of what my stream is.
Somebody just popped in for 20 minutes and only just got that, and they hadn't seen it.
Okay, somebody in the chat, do right-wingers call people woke skulls? I thought they just called you a communist. Yeah, they fucking they invented the term, for fuck's sake. Trying to...
Xanderhall before that. You expect them to go, you should know exactly what I'm saying.
If I need to clarify, yes. Do you think that I need to reiterate every single thing?
Well, they're just going to bounce.
Actually, I mean, if you would de-iterate it, that would be nice. Just sort of kind of unsay it. Just suck the words back in so that we don't have to live with them.
It's going to bounce.
That's fine. If they come in and they don't like what I believe, then they can leave. Do you know how many, you do realize that, I have a consistent, typically, around 500 to 800 viewers on my politics streams, but whenever I end my stream, my VOD has, 8,000 views, because 8,000 total people have come in and out, but it's kind of fluctuated around a constant 500 to 800 people watching.
Right.
People are constantly coming in and out.
How many of those people would have subscribed if you weren't using the word woke? And scold, maybe shit scold. Whatever.
Wait, how many of those people do you think wouldn't have subscribed if I wasn't using it?
Would have.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm interested in is the number of people, just judging from the chat and some of the dodgy shit that's appeared in there, if you're paying attention to it. Not just now, but yeah. Is how many people are there specifically because of his reactionary bullshit and the way that he somehow manages to claim that this has a place on the left or a legitimate place on the left. Unfortunately, it has a place in left spaces, which is something we need to do something about.
Would have subscribed if you weren't saying it.
Probably not many.
Maybe.
Probably not many.
I think you'd be surprised. In the time, some of the stuff you use, I think you'd be surprised about how many, older leftists are like, man, they don't know what woke scold in Xanderhall's community means.
Hold on.
They're just hearing you using woke and bad
I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, that would... Okay, we've been watching this so long, and now it pays off. Now he's going to be honest.
If there are
Sure.
people who are already leftists that see my content and decide it's not for them, that is fine. My goal is not to preach to the choir. My goal is to educate people who don't already know these things.
Except, okay, and that's the worst thing. Because, yeah, I mean, if he tried to market this to leftists, like people who actually had been around long enough that they have, done some reading, have been in enough discussions, have some idea of the responses to a lot of this right-wing bullshit, then, yeah, I mean, they'd laugh at him. They'd just tell him to piss off, for the most part. So, of course, it comes like Vosh as well. He sort of tries to target ignorant liberals and sort of right-wingers who they might be able to be won over to a sufficiently right-wing notion of the left because it's actually, you're less likely to get your ass kicked.
Most older
Just a
leftists
haven,
especially...
then you're just a haven for like Nazis in the middle of the roads. That's all it is. Like
Yeah, that's basically it.
no leftists can, no left, not they can, but no leftists should give a shit to try to keep up on
But
new leftist things like what a woke scold is. Like what a woke scold is.
I see the problem here. You want my channel to be a safe space for me to preach to the choir and circle jerk with other people who already agree with me.
That's exactly what it is. The point is, the people who agree with you suck because you suck.
Not a goal
No.
and not for me to achieve my goal of educating as many people as possible that don't already understand these issues.
How the hell are you going to educate these people? You don't understand these issues.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Not even close. So,
In
what
fact, I've
I'm
actually got a
saying
fair
is-
amount of diversity among ideologies among the left in my audience, honestly.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's probably a very diverse lot from the judging from the fucking Pepe the Frog.
My
show.
actual,
I'm not saying-
believe it or
I
not,
didn't say
believe
that.
it or not, you are actually pretty close to the average age of my viewers. Most of my viewers,
Right.
like the vast majority of my audience, you said
We haven't actually heard what his age is.
that a lot of older leftists are going to unsub from me, or
not
not
unsub.
going to enjoy my
I didn't say
content,
unsub. That weren't
or
subbed.
not support me.
That weren't subbed. That maybe came on to view it. That saw that and were like, I'm not going to sub.
Well, that's weird
Not
when you consider
unsubbed.
that can't be proven in any way. There's no way to prove that, but what I can prove, because I have the demographic
But-
breakdown.
Fun fact: according to his comment on my last stream video from last week, this conversation with Xanderhall led him to unsub. It was apparently the final straw.
Down on my YouTube is that the vast majority of my fan base ranges 25 to 40. Like
All
60%
right,
of my
I
audience is
don't think
25 to
the only
40.
thing- the only thing- Oh yeah, maybe it's. But how you look to older leftists that don't know all the new slang terms,
These are not new left slang terms. These are fairly established right-wing slang terms. Woke school is not a fucking left slang term. You can go a long time in a very diverse group of left spaces, all sorts of tendencies, all sorts of regions represented, not hear that
it looks
fucking
a little
term.
right wing, So it's tough. I'm not saying that you are. I'm not saying it has to be a safe space. I'm just you and Bob
Why
should
shouldn't
get
it be
worried
a
about-
safe space? Why shouldn't it be a space where there's no reactionary bullshit, where people aren't I mean, that isn't... I mean, and this is like another fucking concession to reactionary bullshit that we really shouldn't make. They've managed to make the idea behind the concept of a safe space, as in a space where we don't tolerate oppressive, abusive, reactionary bullshit, while recognizing that when you live in this society, there is a chance that you're going to track some of it in with you just because it's hard to completely avoid it. That's not a bad thing. That is actually not a bad thing at all. But if you sit around reactionaries like fucking Xanderhall, you will immediately get the idea that it is a total pejorative, and that's something they've really just shat all over that term. I mean, personally, I prefer safer space. And of course, a lot of the time they do not live up to that. But when I look at the people who really get pissed off at the concept of trying to have spaces where abuse isn't tolerated, that immediately makes me think that the idea is probably a sound one. I mean, my favorite of this was back in the early days of left unity in Britain. Or big, okay, which was coincided with when Martin Smith or Comrade Delta, the whole rape cover up in the Socialist Workers' Party went down. And so Left Unity had sort of an influx of people who left the SWP in disgust. And there was talk about, like, safer spaces policies to address the issue of abuse in these circles. And I defended the idea, and there were some assholes in these discussions, one of whom was so pissed off at my defense of it. He's like pointing out, it's kind of weird that you're so intent on opposing a policy that is about just not engaging in abusive behavior in our internal interactions. That's a strange thing to be so pissed off about. And he then just went around, like, telling people who didn't know me that I was a right-wing feminist. And a couple years later, it turned out he was a rapist. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, great people deride the concept of safe spaces. We should totally be following their lead. And I think this is where we're going to leave it with this video. And I think for the last 10 minutes, we're going to do some... another thing of rapid and see if I do a little bit better at it than the last one. And we will be continuing with this, watching Xander Hall explain the world to people next week, most likely, or, eventually. Apparently, the guy who called in is really keen to have me go through the whole thing. He seems, apparently he's been enjoying this. Despite the fact that I've actually a couple of times been rather critical of him. So that's kind of neat. Okay. Oh. I just assumed that this was going to be... Is the chat backing up? Well, let me just go and see. Oh, I think the chat must be backing up. Because I have a message here. Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh. from Andromeda. Great little definition here of moral luck. Moral luck is the from this is a tweet from somebody Curiosity. Moral luck is the ethical application of a rabbit's feet, four-leaf clovers, and other such luck enhancement devices. It involves refusing to forcibly detain leprechauns or walk around chanting, "I'm a pretty virgin," to snare unicorns. And I think that's lovely. Okay, I've got a slightly offside little knight here. What is face out? Oh, neat. Yeah, what kind of stuff do you do with it? Okay, we got my Botvinnik structure going here. And I've got my F file open, which will be fun. Okay. Okay, it looks like chat is not being latent. Oh, I look forward to seeing it. Okay. Okay, that wasn't great. Okay, there we are. Oh, wow. That is some filtering. Oh, thank you. That was not a great decision there not to take my queen. Oh shit, this is... Okay, the only move here, I think, is actually just... Yes. Holy shit, okay. This is why I don't resign. This is why I don't resign, because I can fuck up that badly and still come up with that. Well, the filter is quite effective. I'm gonna have to try that out sometime. And, wow, that game actually was really well timed because... Oh, hey! Oh, hey, it's the person who talks to the Center Hall. Yeah, yeah, by the way, how old are you? I mean, is Boomer an accurate... Because your voice does not sound that old. I would have said 40-something at the most. I mean, about to wrap up, since you showed up, welcome, by the way. Always nice to see new people in chat. Yeah, I will be back tomorrow, at the same time, 11:30 to 1, but is Boomer correct? 42, okay, yeah, I'm 42. That's not fucking Boomer. That's 1979. That's like the tail end of Gen X. Fucking hell. What a dickhead. I mean, really, it's impressive. Okay, well, sorry you're only joining the chat on the tail end, but we will be back tomorrow, and I look forward to it. We're actually nearly halfway through the epic of Xander Hall finding ways to stand really dubious ex-Nazis. So, yeah. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you, as always, for dropping in. Yeah, Boomer my ass. I can't believe that shit. Thinks anyone older than him is a boomer, apparently. I mean, if you're 42, your parents were